So, Yabar.
Oh.
Shabini Jabid. Turp system. Oh, hey. Foba.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the TomorrowSim. I am about to create my grandparents' home. It was the last home that they were in. It was in the 90s, but it was probably built in the 70s. It did consist of a house and a garage, and they put in the breezeway to join up the house to the garage to make it look like one unit from the front, that is. So as you can tell, I'm just quickly going through and building on, like, there was the garage, and now I'm worrying about the backyard. And I realized that putting the stairs in, I'll have to move things over in order for me to have the proper landing. And then, of course, everything else was on a platform that I had to build. And in the master bedroom and living room, they were two different heights in my grandparents' home. They had a sunken one step from the main thing, and then the bedroom was like two steps down. So I had to recreate it. Now the area that it is taking for this staircase to go into my grandparents' room, it was two tiles wide, while theirs probably wasn't. It was more. There was a vase there. I do remember a big vase, but not as big as the vase that I ended up putting there. Anyways, I'm putting in the kitchen cupboards. This was a fun thing to do because the closest things that came were the ones that were in what is this? The home decorator pack. So I tried to use that. However, it was more of a flat. It didn't have. You just pressed on it. It all looked like one piece of wood that went across, and then you would just press at certain areas, and the doors or drawers would pop open, including the dishwasher. The dishwasher, you didn't know where the hell it was until you actually pressed the thing open, and it would just pop down. Same with the fridge. The fridge container, I guess you would call it, would be all the same, but the fridge that went in there was a white fridge, technically, with an ice machine. The fireplace is an interesting thing. I might change this now that I actually am looking at it, because memories are coming back. It was more of a corner piece fireplace. I don't think we have anything that is corner related other than the open one. I'm not sure how I would do it, but it had bookshelves. It was stone or brick all the way around. Same brick that was on the outside was on the inside. I changed it up to have a mirror over top of it. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it that way, but at the moment, that's what it is. The backyard here, I don't know what you call it, the covered patio is what my grandfather and grandmother used to call it. It's not a real conservatory or anything like that. It was just built on by my grandfather. He used to have a nice open patio, and then my grandfather built it in the walls around. The floating front door. This actually was real, and maybe I will put a picture of what it used to look like, but we did have a marble curved walkway, and the plant area that I'm about to build right now. That was all filled with flowers. My grandmother loved flowers, and I wasn't sure how to do it at first. I actually had removed the floor. I tried to raise it with the terrains, and then I realized that, oh yeah, these are platforms. I'm just going to use the platforms, grab the Salvadorian flooring, and put that in so it looked like soil. And then I filled it up with plants that I actually eventually take out. This is, you will see that I am trying to flatten certain things out because, Sims want to walk around and they don't like walking on hills. Believe it or not, they don't like walking on hills. They'll avoid it all they can. Unless there's an actual route there, they'll try to avoid it. It is a fully brick home. the new owners of the place, we got rid of it a long time ago. They got rid of the patio, the enclosed patio and the garage and the breezeway, and moved the garage to the other side of the house, which was really weird because, well, that means they would have had to do some kind of changes, or the garage itself is not connected to the house, because it had the living room was on the right hand side and the master bedroom. So yeah, and then also there was kind of a hill there. I don't know how they did it. I should take a look at it one day. It's been a long time since I've been there. This is all done by memory from the way that my grandparents had it styled, with sim objects. There's going to be a lot of sim objects that obviously, like none of this furniture my grandparents had. They had French Provincial. The closest thing that you can get is those red couches, stuff from vampires, which is weird because they're old, they're not, vampires. Here I am trying to move things over. It was, I think, for the staircase? No. Maybe? No. I can't remember. Oh, the dining room. The dining room needed to be widened in order to fit the actual dining set around and the way that they had it placed, the furniture. The garage, actually, my grandfather had everything in the garage. He owned a car body shop. That's how they made their money. Throughout my whole life, my grandfather was somebody that fixed cars and owned multiple garages across the city. The reason why I call it, well, right now it's on Twin Oracle Point. I actually call it Rocky Point because that is actually what the name of the where they are. This house is on Rocky Point. It is an older part of Ottawa. It overlooks the Ottawa River, etc. They were on the corner lot, which I actually do put in the corner street signs and also the little car stuff. Oh, this is me trying to figure out which version do I want, because obviously I'm not going to get the actual real one, so I'm going to I could have recreated with CC, which I might do for my own builds, have a CC version. This is me trying to build in the basement. It's like the staircase wasn't necessarily too wide. It was only about 1 wide or 1.5 wide. There was a front entry and I needed to have a nice front entry, so it kind of got expanded. Of course, things are not going to be the same in The Sims. Here's me trying to figure out how am I going to put in this, and then on top of it, I forgot about the closets. The closets are kind of important because it's what encaps the area, and I'll put them in just a moment. Those staircases, or what do you want to call them? I'm filling them in now. They were so wide. I needed to take them away and just go flat, even though they don't really match the height of the actual flooring, which kind of annoyed me. I went with more of a brownish one. It was white. In reality, it is white. I just went with a brown beige because I started playing around with the tiles. Like, these are closer to the style of the tile, but it's actually, sorry, these are not the brown ones. Long, brown, thin bricks. So that's what it was originally. I didn't really find that in there, so I just opted for whatever brick I was going to use. Do I want to make it brown like originally, or do I want to make it more like they've painted the brick or whatever? Now, the basement was a fun thing to make. Basically, as you can see, I'm doing it really quickly here, had a very unusual shape to it. It had this L-shaped living room down there, and my grandfather used to like to have a wood stove that he put in, because he used to say that the original stove was crap. And it used to be brown, and then basically I forgot that, yeah, that's right, before they sold the house, they painted it white and it looked really nice. So I eventually turned that wide area, or the big living room area, in with more of a whitish look. And this other area that I'm building right now is basically was my grandmother's laundry room, because my grandfather never touched a thing in his life, and my grandmother's sewing crafting room. So it was nice and big, had big tables. The upstairs used to have the upstairs counters from the kitchen came downstairs, and she had a beautiful area to do her laundry. Yes, it was vinyl floors throughout the whole thing, and it looked exactly like that, so I kept those. I thought that was perfect. There was a bar beside the what do you want to call that, the wood stove. As here I'm putting in the counters never looked like that. They looked brown. They were actually like brownish wooden color. I do have a picture I might just throw up before they renovated it. Yes, so back into the kitchen. I'm looking for the actual fridge, and I eventually do find it. Like here. Anyway, so here I found the fridge that got encapsed, and I could only find one that was silver related. I tried to find a white one. The white ones had really weird color swatches. I tried different, adding the whites to the top and see if I can make something a little bit different. I tried in blue because it did have a blue flooring, not blue. It was marble. There was blue in it. And they did have the brick wall. That was because when they refinished the kitchen, my grandmother seen the brick wall from the inside and thought it was gorgeous, and so she had it painted. And it was only on two sides of the wall, as you can see, and the rest of it was tiled. Not necessarily tiled. It was tiled in wood, wainscoting going around the other two sides. There was a wood trim at the top of the tile, and then it was white walls that basically went up top. So very similar to this, except for it doesn't have a wood trim, and it wasn't so deep. I mean, so tall. You'll notice that this table set, by the way, I do own something very similar to this, except for the chair is a little bit different. They're solid wood. They had cushions on it, so it didn't hurt your bum. And they were blue and white. They weren't striped. They did have flowers on it. Anyways, I'm building the back shed, which basically is a place where my grandfather did have all of his work items, whether it be anything garden related or not allowed in the house. In behind, I didn't make it. It would have been a little bit more square, I guess, for it. But I decided to put in 3 objects that needed to be a little bit longer. Right now I'm finding the tree that I will eventually bring to the back and integrate it into a tree that actually had it wasn't as big and thick, but it did have a big hole in it where birds were always living in it. My grandparents never had a scarecrow, but I thought, whoever wants this house is going to need some help. These trees, oh wow, I just went through and grabbed every freaking tree, and then went into debug and said, you know what, I gotta get rid of these trees and bring on all the other fake stuff, not fake stuff, the free stuff, because this place was getting really expensive, and then of course the taxes were not so pretty either. My grandmother was a big knitter, sewer, anything, so you'll have that kind of in this house. This build is actually based for my Spencer's grandmother to live in her remaining days. Although her days have been turned off, so she remains to be living. She is one of the matriarchs. She is the second matriarch of the family, whereas his mother was the third. By the way, I placed every one of those books out. And I didn't even realize. I was going through debug. It's like, oh, I want this. The people that move in here are they're millionaires. Okay, so I didn't realize that I could just go to the bookshelf and buy one every book. It just didn't dawn on me. I thought, okay, you'll see every so often in the living room, all those books. I placed every single one of them, made sure I had every single one of them, and then I placed every one of them in the, one of them disappeared. So I'm like, what the? It was Charisma or something like that. And I ended up going in the thing, I'm going, crap, I could have just bought them all from here. Saved all that time through debug. Anyways, I was bored one night anyways. Their bathrooms weren't necessarily like the way that they were styled. The master bathroom was actually a lot smaller, like not as long and skinny, whereas the main bathroom was very similar to this, except for I guess there would have been a wall in between that filled off, and there was a closet on the bathroom side for the anyways. It would have been a wide thing, so it got removed and gave to the other bedroom so that I can place a dresser there, because there was a dresser in that area behind the door. I'm trying to choose which bed. Princess, whatever her name is, Cordelia, I don't know what her name is. Anyways, I ended up choosing that one for the master bedroom because, well, my grandparents had French provincial furniture. Everything was bought in the 40s. I still have their living room set, which was bought in 1957. All my furniture in my living room and dining room are from the 1950s and maybe 1962 for the dining room set, or the kitchen set, which was that big round one. I have no idea what I'm doing here. Am I cutting off? Like, what's going on? Is this... I'm absolutely not doing anything. Interesting. Now I am. Okay, so apparently I might have went off screen or went to go grab a glass of water. Here I'm doing a little closet. Now, the closet would have been on a little bit wider. They had a big tickle trunk. I don't know what to call it. A little like that. It's not. It's a huge trunk. I do believe we have one in here, but I didn't want to make this closet that big because otherwise I would have to remove it from the sauna. The sauna did not exist in my grandparents' home, just so you know. They did have a wooden, like, cedar closets on both sides of the bathroom. Which is one of them I'm making right now, but it's not exactly a cedar closet or anything like that. This is the bathroom in the middle. Here I am finding shelves just to place the shelves anywhere. Like I said, I go through, I just keep popping things down where I think that it reminds me of something. I'll choose the better one afterwards, and I'll get rid of a lot of the stuff, or I'll use it in my build. Like I said, my grandfather owned a garage body shop, so those cans and stuff like that, he had like air pumps, everything there. This was an actual thing in my grandfather's basement, or my grandparents' basement. It was the cold room. It had a lot of staples and canned goods, etc. It was like it was a fridge. It was like a walk-in fridge, but it wasn't electrical or anything like that. It was just because it was downstairs and it was kept dark and it was cool. The whole basement was cool all the time. They had what do you call those? Dehumidifiers to basically take out the dampness, and it would actually heat up the place. And of course, my grandfather and his wood stove, I would always have to be chopping wood, but he did a lot more than I did. Like, trust me. Yeah, there's grass in that solarium, whatever you want to call it, patio, because I had no place to put it when I found it. I use a lot of debug items. I use them in a lot of my builds. I just, for some strange reason, just while I was in there grabbing out of build buy mode, I was grabbing all the trees, and I'm like, why am I buying all this stuff? I can get out of debug. They did have a built-in bar. It was, wooden. I put it in there. I should have put it white because technically it got painted white. Originally, it was supposed to be brown throughout the whole basement, but before my grandfather sold and before he passed away, he had me paint the whole basement and kind of whitewash the wood so it looked a lot better. I'm gay. I know what I'm doing. However, in The Sims, you may not think so. Here I am just placing all the... Well, I was placing the debug things. There goes the sauna. It's like, yeah, I'm not putting in a second closet. That's a waste of space. So I thought, I'm going to pop in the sauna. There was a games room. It was downstairs where basically all on the left-hand side would be basically where the stereo is, was actually antique furniture that they collected throughout the years. I wasn't going to put that all in here. I just put one of the sofas downstairs in front of the living room set. They never had anything in the middle of the living room because my grandfather was Lebanese, and everything was always pushed off to the walls. Everything was empty for gatherings and stuff like that, and only brought up when they were only there by themselves. Otherwise everything would be pushed to the back, to the walls. My grandfather did have a hookah. He never smoked as much that I know of, but I always seen the pieces around, and I do have a couple of them, although the ones that I have, one from him, but I never seen him smoke a hookah. Somebody did. Somebody, like one of their guests or something like that, or family would have come over. My grandfather was Lebanese. My grandmother came over here in 1926, I guess. Yeah, that sounds about right. He was about 16 years of age. He came with his brother. Oh, God, this frickin' little thing. I ended up placing one of the dolls, and the dolls are a spawning thing, so you can't get rid of it until you get a sim to go in there and kick it. I was so annoyed. I thought the thing would just keep coming back, but it didn't. But I do have to actually bring Don Lothario in here because, A, I needed to put all those books into the bookshelf. That's me smacking my forehead because of the fact that I didn't realize that I could have just bought them in the bookshelf. Not like Sims 3 where you have to, if you find the book, just pull it out. Because you can't just go and purchase it, and you can't steal them from the library like you can here. Anyways. So my uncle's room, my mother's room. Okay, so they never lived here. I was, I think, 13 when they bought this house. And maybe 12. Maybe I was 12. Yeah, it would have been 12 because I was 13 when I moved over to my place and they just had moved. It was like a family. Every family member decided to move homes, whether it be my sister moving provinces or my mother moving, my grandparents moving, my uncle moving. They all moved in the same year and a half, 2 year period. Yes, there was my grandfather had jewelry and stuff like that, and the bank, basically things that he kept away from whatchamacallit. I did not know that everything I'm placing right now around the picnic basket was actually garbage. Do not do it. The Sims get really upset and they want to clean it up. And they do. The first thing that they do is walk in there and they're like, jump, take all the open wine bottles and stuff like that, and I guess nectar bottles, and stick it in the garbage. My grandfather loved flowers, from my grandmother. He was the gardener, but that was his pastime. He had the perfect lawn. It was always green, probably because he had grandkids that came over and cut the lawn and did everything that he asked. Oh, that was me. The other ones didn't do anything. Sorry, I'm very bitter about that, as you can tell. I'm putting a little bit of, soil around. They did not have a hot tub in the back, but I thought, you know what, why not? They did have a lot of wildflowers, trust me, a lot of wildflowers grew around their home because I guess, there was a time that you can get out of the magazines these kind of carpets that you can throw down, and they're just seeds on a wire, not a wire, but a string or whatever. You just put them down and then water them, and in a few weeks some wildflowers grow. And that's what happened there, and they went kind of out of control. I tried to keep it in control here, but you'll notice that there's a lot of flowers, and yes, that's how it was originally. You'll notice that there is a boat. Yes, my grandparents did have a boat. My uncle had a boat and always sat beside the house. My grandparents also had a big trailer, like a very long trailer with the pop-out sides. I should remake that one. It was an interesting trailer, I guess. Here I am trying to flatten, because yeah, if you don't flatten, these Sims are not going to use it. They're not going to be able to do anything. So there's certain areas, everything's accessible, and I took notice to where they're able to walk, and I tried to match the pathways to them. There is one, after I built all this, realized that, oh, the kids are not running to the backyard. Where are they going? They run through the fence. So I move the fence and open it up, because that's a route that they're accessible to be able to go up hills and stuff like that. So I just left it that way. In my grandparents' house, it would never have been like that. Flower arranging. The flower arranging, my grandmother was, no, the flowers stayed outside. I did add it in here because, well, it's Sims. The Sims are growing them. And, of course, you got to make money somehow, because the bills in this place are tremendous. They're over 10,000. I even try to build, like, I try to cheapen it up with electronic panels or whatever you call that on the roof. I shrunk them down because they're huge, but I did put in a lot of them. Painting is a huge thing. A lot of my family paint. My sister paints. I do graphic designs on a computer. I guess that would be considered the same thing in the same area. It's just I was more electronical. Everybody else was technophobe. The dining room set, it was, like I said, it was a very French provincial, very heavy, and sat 8. This room where I'm putting the robot and stuff like that, this was actually my grandmother's craft room. So in The Sims, why not a skill room? She had sewing, knitting, everything. It was a huge, like, her own little personal store. Nothing compared to what my mother had, or I have now. Even I have more stuff than she has. Anyways, and I'm trying to get rid of it. A lot of beading too. But let's not open that box of beads. Yeah, they had like blue walls in one of the rooms. It didn't have single beds. My mother and her brother had double beds growing up. So I think as the first bed that they, like, when they got 12 or something like that, they ended up with double beds. Like a beautiful bedroom set. And I still have my mother's. She gave me that when I was a young kid. There was pillars that used to separate in between, and I thought, you know what, forget it. It was removed halfway through, like, them living there. They removed it. My grandfather hated them, so he took them down. What else can I really talk about this place? Everything is accessible. There is a listening device in the basement inside this cold storage room. They're able to sit down on the tables at the desk. I haven't tested it on whether or not it works because, well, I didn't plant any bugs, but they can sit down at the chair that's sitting in front of it. So if they can do that, they can do anything. I removed one of the cars because it's a waste of frickin' space to add in a fake car. I then popped in, because my grandfather did, when my grandmother passed away, he got rid of her car that used to sit in that space, and it became more of a hobbies. He had more hobby stuff there, not exercise equipment, because my grandfather was in his 90s, yeah, he wouldn't have been doing that. But we did have a recycled thing, trash compactor, whatever. It would just chop up big metals or wood, which looked like the recycling thing that's in the garage, so I left it there, or I kept it there. What else can I say about this? Yeah, there was a lot of pipes I added, tools, because my grandfather was into tools, of course. I had to make sure that the Sims went through and took out the stuff that they didn't like, so any garbage, The face mask and stuff like that, it was fine. Yeah, see, I'm popping all of the... This is a fully stocked fridge. I mean, like, my Sims have everything they could possibly want that is available for the fridge items. Whether it be meat or the eggs, the drinks, the whatever, it's fully stocked. Even right down to the fruits and vegetables that are growing that I had Don there import and basically plant and water every single one of them. Always remember to save your game, because God knows this thing crashes a lot, but not as much as Sims 3. By the way, I do a lot of Sims 3 stuff. I happen to like Sims 3. I like to bring in a lot of Sims 3 into the Sims 4. You can download a lot of their houses on my build. Right now, they did have paneling along the really nice paneling that went in the living room and dining room and the hallway. Not the actual hallway, but the hallway, that front entryway, sorry. That it was cohesive. So I did add this in. The wallpaper, however, what they have in the bedroom, almost exactly what they had in their bedroom with the paneling. But the paneling all slanted and stuff like that when you went down the stairs, so it was always the same height to your waist when you walk through the house. And the second bedroom, I did decide to turn into Dawn's. Like, I went away from my grandparents a long time ago, although some of it's still the same. I do have like the orangey bedroom. I do restyle it to have a little bit more of another Sims flair, not somebody that necessarily is from my family. The Sim that's moving into this place is my Sim Spencer's grandmother. So I keep wanting to call her Karen, but Karen's are the Spencer's mom in Sims 3. In Sims 4, I can't remember her name for some strange reason. She isn't. I still have her saved. It's more of an Arabic name. I can't remember it. Salt? No. Anyways, I do have it, and I should bring up the family, and maybe if I can remember to do that, I'll pop it up. Anyway, so she's going to live her remaining days, which is not actually, because she's now immortal after the mother's she's still alive. Her mother's dead. She's a ghost. The ghost might live here. By the way, that thing that's on the table is not actually the thing that came with this pack. It's not a crystal ball. It's actually something to do with binding one of the spiritual animals. Your whatever it's called. I can't even remember what it's called. So yeah, there's the dolls that I wanted. I ended up with the other doll that I placed and can't get rid of. And I should have tested. Always when you put something down from your debug menu, make sure to go back and see if you can pick it up. Because if you can't pick it up, that means you're never going to be able to get rid of it. And what you need to do is hit that like rewind button, your undo button. Oh, the curtains were a pain in the butt in this place. I had to remove the windows to place the curtains, and of course, they didn't look right. I had to keep... Anyways, such pain in the behind. I don't remember... My grandparents technically had a canopy bed. In that design, it was like... They never... It was just plain. My grandmother used to put the stuff up. After my grandmother passed away, my grandfather never once put the curtains or whatever, the shears that went around the bed. He thought it was too enclosing. So he had it. It was the first thing that was removed when my grandmother was... anyways. So I'm putting in blinds. Yes, they used to have blinds. My grandfather used to always close them. I'm putting in the lower ones to think, can they work better? And it's like, no, I decided to take the blinds. And there was blinds in the other room, and there were like these blinds, but I kept them. Wait, did I keep those? No, I decided to remove them, which is weird because, in real life you'd have curtains or blinds in your bathroom. And of course, not in The Sims. Nobody stares. Unless you have wicked whims, then you get Tina and whatever his name is. Tom and Tina. They tend to look around. So yeah, here's what it's starting to look like from the outside. And again, like I said, it would overlook their original house would overlook the river. This house didn't. It would actually, the front end would actually face another house that actually had access to the water. So they were on the other side of the street. For this particular house, my grandmother didn't want to be next to the water after being on, having property that went into the water for 30 years. So yeah, I popped in Don here, and you'll see him. Well, you would have seen it at the beginning there, that he's popping in all the vegetables and all that. That's when I actually started getting him to do it, was having him do that. And of course I had to resave this because every time I go, I built this in my 100 baby countdown, and I didn't want time to keep going because I have limited time in this. So I saved it as a new file, and then had him go and do all this, and as you can see, he did a very nice job. And I do import the stones. However, I didn't. I thought I imported the right stone family, but I did not. I imported 3 stones. Yeah. So Spencer's. Here's the bills. Oh my God, $10,000, $20,000. Sorry, $20,000. So yeah. I had to go in there, and you'll see that I'm like, what is going on? Why is this so high? I'm not in game. I'm not playing. There should not be taxes at this moment. This is the first day that we haven't even pressed play, and the taxes are there. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? Let's cheapen the bills. So I start shrinking all these things. Now I'm not sure if I did the whole thing, so I have to go back and check. I've already uploaded, so if they're not there, I apologize. I will upload another version that will have any fixes, which I should have done this video before I uploaded it, but yeah, I just uploaded. So yeah, this is the second bedroom. Second bedroom is good for children or young teens. It would have had the original antique furniture in there from their parents, etc., that would have lived in that room, where the grandparents would not have changed what the room was. Furniture, just the items in there, would have changed. This is technically the furniture that is French provincial. That is the furniture that would have been throughout the whole house. Queen Anne French provincial, even Italian provincial. Well, that was more like my house because I was raised with an Italian stepfather that had a lot of older furniture. That's hi-fi. Oh my God, that so much. That reminds me of my actual home. My grandparents didn't have it. They had something similar, but it didn't. It might have had a record player in it, but it was more like a bar that was inside. I just popped it in there anyways. I didn't care. I was doing it. And let's see. So yeah, here I am just grabbing stuff and just placing it anywhere. It's like, ooh, look at this. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, look at this. Can I place this here? Can I shrink this down? And you'll notice I'm just placing anything, anywhere I can get that will decorate this place. Even after the bills, finding out the bills, because of course with every object that I add, just adds to the bills. Anyone notice that when you place things on the right hand side of a platform, it always goes through, and you have to scooch it over with the alt, and you have to be very careful because it just drops down. It's just, it's really painful. And oh yeah, so these flower trucks, picture that truck that basically has car parts in it, like, vehicle parts. But since there's no real car games and there's no garages in here, I thought, maybe I'll add the flowers. And so instead of the wheelbarrow full of, and it's not really, it's just a flatbed barrel, whatever, I'll put plants, and it's more sim interesting. Here's that vase that I tried to manipulate. No, there was no actual plants in the vase. It was just a big vase. It was a vase that my mother made that I had for a long time, and then I broke it. I was so upset. We're now going through the home, apparently. Okay, so here's Don, and then, of course, that's Chip. Chip's part of my gameplay. He's Chip off the stone. He's a stone. He's Spencer's technically older brother, like much older, that's been aged down for this particular one, because I needed him to test this all out as a child. So I'm looking around. Here's the kitchen. Ooh, first person mode. Love it. Although I haven't really figured out the controls, and considering that I was a cameraman for a long time and I do productions in The Sims, I am a horrible director. There was a mirror behind my grandparents' thing, and although it would have been a solid white door on the inside, it was a wooden screen door on the outside, and I just remember the white door always being open and the screen door being, whatchamacallit. It was a heated breezeway, which was weird. In the wintertime it was heated. During the summertime, the heat was never on. There was fans up. Wait, I should have put the fans in. Oh, wait, they don't really have the big, long, white fans. This is Anton. Anton Stone. Ant on Stone. All of my names tend to have some kind of weird mix. Anyway, so that's Spencer's brother. Older brother. Again, this is before... Oh, this was... Yeah, okay, so yeah. The kid is actually... Sorry, he is... I thought I aged him down for this, and it's not. From the family I took, and it's not. This is from the original, before Spencer was born. These were a save. Mom had... Mom is supposed to be part of this, and it wasn't. It was after I had a split in the family. I had a mod in my family so I can have 12 people. Well, I had a lot more in my family than that at one time, but I had 12 people, and I had to actually remove a couple of them, and I brought them into Kaz, and Mom died, or Mom disappeared. And this was the save from that, and then I uploaded that to my gallery, and then I saved it. Anyway, so those are Spencer's brother's older brothers, but before Spencer and Spartacus were actually born. So here I am looking through the hallway. Yes, this hallway really existed. However, all this dark brown actually ended up being painted white afterwards, very similar to the way that the rooms were painted. In here, it's more for a boy. It wasn't decorated like this at all. I was going through what kind of stuff that really goes well with my grandparents' place, but isn't actually, none of that actually matches. It's just similar to paneling, wallpaper on the top. We're going in the second bedroom. You'll notice that there's more of a whoever grew up in here has their badge. They are a little bit more on the fixing up. This was supposed to be in more of my mother's taste. Yes, my mother loved blue, by the way. She was not into paranormal stuff, but the 1970s stuff and the dolls. Oh my god, my mother's... I'm haunted by dolls. I'll put in a couple of here, especially the baby face one here. Hopefully I just remember to do that. Because, I seen something that's like, oh god, the 1990s... These toys, why does my mother have them? And it's like, oh, that's right, the grandchildren had these things. And it's like I look at one of them and I'm like, I hope none of my nieces or nephews or etc. have any kind of tramp stamp that's basically on their ass. And it's because one of the dolls that they had, and I'll place her again here, it just, yeah, she had a tramp stamp on her ass, and it's like, oh, okay. Anyways, so yeah, this is the bathroom, and yes, the bathroom was like this, except for it was kind of a rounded wall that went from the door to the shower, which I was not able to do on the staircase here because they kind of rounded out. It was like a weird setup. You walked from all this old place and you walked into this bedroom that, although was still old, had this roundness to it. Like going into it, it had the rounded hallways. It looked really out of place. But it was one of the features my grandparents loved about their master bedroom. It looked like they were going through a warp room here. All right, so here I am going into the basement. God, that was fun. Me looking back, did I make it? Let me start this again. Let's go down the stairs again. Okay, here we go. So we're gonna go through basically at this eye level. That shelf, yes, was a kind of a step stool. I have the step stool that would sit there. It used to be a wooden one. Used to be a brown one, and I ended up painting it white because I didn't like it. It was metal, a little metal step stool that always had like a bunch of stuff, whatever my grandfather was working on at that moment would be there. So yeah, this is basically kind of minus the spooky stuff, because no, my grandparents weren't like that. They very religious stuff. Remove all those paintings and put everything religious, Catholics. Oh my God, my grandfather was my grandmother was very Catholic, French Canadian Catholic. My grandfather was Lebanese, and believe it or not, he was Catholic. He was, I forget what it's called, but the difference between praying with a hand open or closed. But in Ottawa, basically Roman Catholic. He was a part of. They supported the church. They built a church for where I was baptized. My sister, I think, was married there. My grandparents basically were a major donor to the place, and a lot of the artwork that, like the Stations of the Cross, etc., were gifted. A lot of the pews were gifted by them. They were just right into religion, and of course, none of the rest of the family is. My sister is. She's very big in religion, not like preaching all the time. No, she's just she has beliefs. That's all. I am gay. I have a very weird outlook. I can't say I don't believe in God, but I can't say that I truly do believe in God. I just don't believe in what may be written out for everybody to believe. There's certain things in the... Anyways, let's not even go there. So instead of knitting things and material and all that, we put in skills like painting. Like I said, my grandmother and my sister and my mother were all into painting. I'm into painting. We didn't have art easels like that. We kind of painted wherever we were. No one did. I guess I'm the closest thing that comes to robotics, dealing with toys. No, I'm kidding. I worked in television. I had to build stuff that weren't real, so it was inventing. I call that the inventing station, not necessarily the robotics. And what else? I think we're gonna go up the stairs and outside and check out the garage here. So through the breezeway and through into the car garage, we do have they had a gray van that basically had camping stuff. It was a very gorgeous van. It just, all the back seating could turn into beds and stuff like that. It was like a Rock'em. No, it was a newer van for that time frame. It was like the 80s, actually the 70s. I think they got it, and it was a big van, the white van that you're very scared of. One of those, just the old style, but it was had windows, very friendly. Obviously, it was gray. My sister and her husband had a very similar one, but it was more of brown with a gold going through it. But they were kind of camper vans, but they weren't for camping. They were like luxurious vans, like huge big seats that swiveled, and then the back seat that went along the doors there was a sofa. You can turn it into a bed. There was a fridge. There was everything. It was a really nice van. Yeah, we're looking around the yard. Nobody cares. No, I'm kidding. If you're looking through this and listening to me, God love you. Yeah, so you'll see in the background there's a tree with the lanterns. No, we didn't have lanterns around our tree. Our tree wasn't that big. It had to be that big in order to actually, put the other stuff into it, like the birds, the rabbits, etc. And they all actually are able to access. The rabbits are living in there. There's 2 rabbits, a white one and a beige one, or I can't remember what I put in there. I might have deleted them. No, actually, they are there. I do remember seeing them. The birds, they do are able to access. The scarecrow's able to be accessed. Apparently, we need to weed some stuff. No, we've already weeded this stuff. This is back footage. I have played in the game. I have made a few changes around the property. I might have fixed it by now. We'll see when we go up if there is a pathway. Yeah, there is a pathway. You'll see the bike on the other side of the fence there. There is a pathway in between the tent and the play tent and the jungle gym. Here's my grandfather's garage, or basically the workshop, a juicer, fizzy machine, and a candle workstation. Like I said, I opened it up. Instead of on the other side where that juicing station would have been, there would have been a wall right before it, and then it would have had open shelves for all the wood for the fireplaces that would sit outside. There's the little doorway that I actually make way to go through, because your Sims will use that to be able to go into the backyard and walk up the backyard. Before I even realized that I should flatten around the boat a little bit more instead of a hill, I'll flatten around so they have a square to actually get through by the backyard. And they do now be able to get through the backyard. This is the other side of the fence. Any part of this fence is not really seen. There are items underneath it that might cause them not to go through that way, so they'll probably avoid it, but I can't guarantee it. I've never had a Sim go through it yet. There was only the one spot, and I opened it up to make sure that your Sim can get through it. I do believe decorating the outside of your thing is kind of important. They did have more trees that went along the line, but I wanted more of an open view to what's currently happening in my Newcrest thing, where I can actually see the water, so I decided not to do it that way. And we're going to take a final look from the other side of the street, because that's kind of important. You want to get the full look, and you're pretty much going to want to put up that roof there. So there we go. And yeah, so this is my grandparents' house, and now it belongs to whatever name Stone. And yeah, if you like this video, please click the like button. It's much appreciated. And subscribe if you want to. Follow me on Twitch and stuff like that. I have a whole bunch of information that hopefully will pop up. If not, the links are in the description. Cheerio!